Hello, welcome back. In our last video, we have seen about learned about arrays, basics of array. First, we have learned about what is variables, how we can store values in Java, how we can retrieve them, and then we jump back to the arrays, where we have learned two ways of creating array, and then how we can access each values of arrays. How can we put some conditions while retrieving the values from element like even numbers, odd numbers, and then we have also seen a program how we can calculate sum of all elements of Java. We have seen an array of string. How can we retrieve? How can we reverse print the values of arrays? And then we have also learned about the disadvantage of arrays. So I will just give you a quick refresher. First disadvantage is that it is fixed in size. We cannot reduce or increase the size on the fly, and hence we cannot increase or decrease these size of arrays. So the sometimes we do some wastage of memory, and sometimes we require more memory. So the memory management is not good with arrays. Only homogeneous values are acceptable. That means if we are creating an int array, it can only hold values of integers, not float. So we call it as homogeneous elements, similar types of data type. And the last one is, since it's not based off classes and objects, array, we don't have ready-made methods support available. Everything we have to do with arrays, we have to create our own logic and perform the operations. Now, what we'll do is we'll learn about collections. So I will create a new package. I will name as collections, and inside this, I will create a new class. Let's say learn collections. Okay, public static void main. Now, for this lecture, we would be referring to Java T-Point. Again, this is one of the very good websites where we can get the information very precise, and we can get some sample programs as well. So I will refer this. You can also refer to this website in case you want to revisit or revise some of the concept. So again, collections. So in theory, collections in Java is a framework, that gives us interfaces, classes which we can use for our purpose. So collection, again, it's collection of items into one single entity. In array also, we represent collection of the multiple values into one entity. Similar way, collection is also similar concept, but it gives us some interfaces and classes which we can use for our purpose. For example, the basic interfaces of collections is set, list, queue, dequeues, classes as array list, linked list, hash set. So we'll go through some of the important classes and interfaces. Now, the disadvantages of array is overcome by collections. I will just read the how it solve. I mean, what are the advantage of collections, and then I will further down the lecture I will explain how it is the advantage. So the first advantage is that it's not fixed inside size. We can either decrease or increase as per our need. That is one advantage. Second advantage is in collections is we can store heterogeneous elements. Heterogeneous means different types of elements or different types of data we can store into collections. And since these are classes and interfaces, we have a lot of ready-made methods already available, which is given by Java. So it's very easy to perform some operations in these collections. So all the disadvantages of array are actually advantage of collections. Okay. Now, if we look at the framework, the entire framework of collections, it looks something like this. We have a root interface which is iterable, and then we have a collection interface which actually extends this uh, interface. So collection, in short, is again a root interface of all the interfacing classes in our collection framework. So all the blue ones are interfaces, all the green items are classes. So we'll focus on we majorly focus on list and set. So collection has certain types, certain methods, which is common to each and every interface and classes of the collection framework. List and set is again a child interface of collection. It has all the methods of collections, but it has its own method. List has its own method, and set has its own method as well. There is a specific difference between list and set, which we'll discuss in some time. The common classes which implements list interface is array list, linked list, stack, vector, and for set it is hash set and link hash set. So we'll try to cover array list, linked list, hash set, and we will also see what is link hash set. We will also discuss what are the major differences between list and set, how, when, and why we want to use list, and when and why we want to use set interface. Okay. Uh, if you go through this list, it will give you all the list of interfaces, their methods. So these methods are already available inside our collection interface. So like normal methods like add to adding element, add all when we want to add a different type of collection. If you want to remove anything, if you want to remove all, if you want to see what is the size of collection, if you want to clear down, that is remove all the elements, if you want to see if certain elements is available inside a collection or not. So all these are generic methods which are already available um, inside the collection interface, and rest all the child uh, interfaces will have all these methods by default. There is a iterator interface as well. I will not go deep down into this, but you can refer this page. You can see basically it has three methods which we use to iterate through an election collection. So let's suppose if we have an array list, if you want to iterate through every element, we can use hash next or next, these methods which are available in the iterator interface, which is the parent interface of collections anyways. Okay, so now we'll focus on list interface. Okay, so again, list is used for where we want to store certain elements, and we want to store first of all we want to store duplicates. So if we want to create a collection, we want to we want to store duplicates values. So in that case, we have to use list interface and their classes. In set, we don't use it because we don't use in set we cannot store duplicates values. So if our requirement is to create a collection which should only have unique values, we tend to go for set and its classes. That is one difference between list and set. The other difference is in list, the insertion order is actually preserved. That means if the way the sequence in which we add values into a list, we can retrieve from the same sequence. And in set, since it doesn't allow us to store duplicates, so the insertion order is not preserved. So let's say in set, if I add any value at the first index, we don't have any index in sets. I will explain it further. I'm just giving a high level. So that is two basic difference between list and interface. I'll just reiterate. In list, we can store duplicate values. In set, we cannot. In list, we have insertion order preserved. In set, we don't have any insertion order. In list, we can access any element from list using the index because insertion order is preserved. But in set, we don't have any concept of indexing. Okay. Now I will quickly go to my program and give you a few examples. So let's say I want to create a list L is equal to. So the first class which implements list is array list. I will create a array list. That's how we do in Java. This is interface, this is class. Of course, I need to import java.util package because it's there in the java.utils package. So what I'll do is instead of this, I will create star. That means I want to add all the interface and classes which is inside this util package so that we don't get error, this error often. Okay, so you can go to this example. I will use my own example to explain you. So this is how you create. So after this line, now you have created an object. You have created an object of array list class, and L is your object reference. It's type of list interface, and array list is child. Array list is a class which implements list, so we can use that. Instead of this, you could also do something like this. Instead of list, you can use it this way. So this is the way. This is class. We are creating object, and this is object reference. But the best practice is to use list here. We could also use collections as well here. Why? Because collection is the parent interface of list. Okay, but the good practice is to use list. Okay, now in this line we have created one array list, empty array list, right? We have not mentioned any size of this, so it's a dynamic now. And how it is dynamic? First of all, if I want to add anything inside this list, so what I'll do is L, I will give dot. It will give me all methods, right? So this is one advantage of collections. We have ready-made methods available. So we have see a lot of methods available for some specific purpose, which we were not having in the arrays. Now, if I want to add one I want to add any element inside the list. So I will give what add. Let's say I want to add a integer 23. Okay. Now I want to add 45.56 and I want to add a name. So let's say I want to add a string Java. Okay. Let's say I want to add one more thing. Let's say I want to add Boolean. Okay, so now you can see this is one more advantage that in collections or list and their classes which implement list and sets, we can add different types of data. This is advantage. In arrays we couldn't add different types of data, but in collections we can do that. Now if I print L, it will give me all these elements. Okay, so you see 23, 45.6 Java and true. In array, if we want to print all the values of array, we have to use for loop, right? We don't have this functionality available that if we can just print the variable which holds the memory location, it will not give all the values. So this is also one of the advantage of using collections. Now, if you see when I said list is an interface which you use to kind of you can add duplicate. So let's say if I want to again add Java here, I can add it. Okay, and then if you see this, you can see Java is 2 times available inside this list, array list. Okay, uh, yeah, okay. So we can add duplicates, and also I have added 23 at first and then 45. So you see insertion order is preserved. So 23 stored at the 0th index. This is on first index, second, third, fourth index. Okay, so the insertion order is preserved. Now if I add if I remove from here and add after Java, so now the first element would be 45.6 and second is Java and then third 23. You see, that is why the insertion order is preserved. So this is a feature of list, specific to list. Okay. Now there are certain methods available again. If I want to check the size of it, so I will say L dot size, L dot size. It should print me 5. Okay, I have added one additional parenthesis. It is showing 5. Okay, if I want to check if there is certain element which is there inside the list or not, if I say L dot contains, if I want to see that this list has a value of 23, it should give me as true. See, it has given me true. But if I say 25, we don't have any value as 25, it will give me false because we don't have any value as 25. Now, if I want to remove anything, so I can say remove. Okay, so we have these many methods available. So if I want to remove from a certain index, I can use this method, remove int index. It will take the index value. So let's say I want to remove the second, sorry, on first index, that is this Java. We can use it, or I can also, okay, let me show you. So what I'll do is after removing, I will also print again, so you can see the difference. You see, now we only have one Java because I have removed it. Now, if I want to remove if I just want to remove directly the value. So if I give as Java here, so see what it will do. You see, it has removed the Java. Only the first instance, not the other one. Okay, it only removes one value at a time. So this is the method which we can use. Now let's for example let's see if we can see any other methods available. Okay, get, yeah, get. If we use get method index, so if we want to get the value on, let's say I want to get a value which is from index third. Okay, so the index third value is what? 0, 0. We have removed this 0, 1, 2, 3 Java. So it will give me Java. Okay, so these methods are available in collection. So again, the advantage is that it has ready-made methods available. Okay, so we have seen, and yeah, if I want to, after this also, if I want to add anything, I can add it with. So that means I am able to increase the size of it on the fly. This is again the advantage. You see, I have added JavaScript as well. So this is the advantage of using collections. Okay, we are, as of now we are using we are looking for list and the class which is array list. There is one more class which implements list, which is linked list. So if I change this to linked list, mm, yeah, uh, you will not see any difference at the moment. There is very few differences between linked list and array list. It's a theoretical part which you can look into this website. The only difference is since all the collections are internally defined using any underlying data structure. So linked list is actually use doubly linked list as the data structure to implement. Array list is used dynamic array. So that is the difference. It's very technical difference. You might not see difference when you use it, but for specific cases we use linked list. For example, in linked list the manipulation is fast because no shifting is required, right? This concept is more of a data structure way. So when you talk about doubly linked list, doubly linked is what happens is every element stored as a node, and every node has one part having an address pointing to the previous node, and one having an address to the next node. So again, it's more of a data structure way, but we can learn it from all these website the differences, but those differences does not really you cannot see on from your program as such. It's more of a memory management, which one is better, which one is not better when we create big websites. One more class is there, which is called vector. It is again using dynamic arrays. It is similar to array list. It is, however, it is synchronized and contain many methods. They are not part of collection framework. So synchronized, it's a difference between array and vector list. Vector is synchronized. So synchronized, the concept which we use when we talk about multi-threading. So again, we cannot see much difference from our this program. We also have one class called stack. It's a subclass of vector. It implements LIFO, last in first out data structure. So all the classes of list are different in terms of which data structure they implement. Okay, and then we have queue interface. We won't look into the queue interface in much details. Just is it implement first in first out data structure. Okay. And then, okay, now we have learned about array list and linked list, which is classes which implement list. Now what we'll do is we will look, okay, before going to the set thing, I will quickly show one more important thing is now if we use this way, we can add any value inside the list, this linked list, right? But there is a way in collections if what if even though we want to use that feature of adding any values, but in our applications we want to restrict that feature, right? So we want to make sure that we can only add string values, not any other values. So how I can do that? To use that, if I give a diamond syntax like this, if I give string, we call it this concept, we call it as generics. So if I do this, now you will see that I cannot add integer. I cannot add boolean. You see, method add string is type of list string, not applicable for the argument double. So we cannot add double. We cannot add integer. We cannot add boolean. Can only add string values. Now if I change this to int, not int actually, integer. Okay, then you will see the error coming in double, string, boolean, and um, string. Okay, if I want to make it generic, if I give as object, now I can add practically anything because everything in Java is object. So this double will also convert into double object, integer object. That is a wrapper class. So I just wanted to explain, if we use this diamond structure, that means we want to store only specific type of data. As of now, I will remove it. So that was linked list. Now let's jump to the set one. How do I do that? So I will say set s is equal to, now the class which we will talk about is hash set. Okay. Okay. Now if I want to add, let's say s dot add. If I add, let's say uh, Java, or what I'll do is I will copy the same thing. I will just change the L to S. So S S S S S. Now see what will happen if I want to print S. Okay, I have added 45.56 Java 23 true Java. Now if I print S, see I can see Java once. Okay, I can see 45.6, I can see 23, I can see true also. But you see, the insertion order is not preserved. That means I have added 45.6 first, and then I have added Java, and then 23. But the sequence is not as per the way I have added. So that means the insertion order is not preserved. So if insertion order is not preserved, that is one advantage. Second is we cannot add duplicate. So Java only added once, right? Not twice. Okay. Now since the insertion order is not preserved, we don't have methods like s dot add int sorry, add index, the way we have added or removed. Okay, you see in this line I have removed a element which was in index third, but I cannot use this in a set because in set we don't have index concept at all, right? I cannot retrieve Java. I cannot retrieve 23 using index because this index is not, I mean, it's not a concept in Java, in set. Okay, now I can, what majorly set is used for, it is used to store unique values, and it used to store whether a specific value is there inside set or not. So if I do something like this, s dot contains, if I say contains and I say Java, okay, it will give me true, right? Let's uh, keep it here. Okay, now if I say 25, it will give me false. Okay, now look, one important thing. Let's suppose I want to add an element in set. If I'm adding, let's say 23, or let's say 25, okay, and I will again print the value of set. If I do something like this, you see now 25 is added, but it is added randomly because we don't have indexing. Okay, now if I add 23, look what I will get. So it is giving me s dot add as false because it couldn't add 23 again. Why? Because 23 was already there, and set we can only use to store unique values, no duplicates. So that is the main difference between set and list. Okay. If I go back to the Java T-point set interface, you can read the theory from this. Hash set is one famous class which implements set. We also have link hash set. Um, this represent the linked implementation of set interface. Okay. Uh, what it does is it maintains the insertion order. That is main thing. So if I change this to linked list, okay, spelling was okay, spelling was wrong. Now, if you see, I will see set the way I have added. So just look at this time. As of now, it's first Java 2345.5 and true. Now, if I run this, you see, this is the same order the way I have added 45 Java 23 true. Okay, and of course Java I have added again, so it will only save for the first time. So in set, even though set doesn't have insertion order preserved, but if we still want to, if our requirement is to use set and still wants to hold the insertion order, we use linked hash set class. So that is the only difference. Okay, we have some other as well. Sorted set. Uh, it says again you can read to this theory. It is alternate offset interface that provides total ordering of its element arranged in the increasing ascending order. The sorted set provides additional method that inhibited the natural ordering. So if we want to use set and also want to have some sorting like ascending or descending, we can use this class. Okay, there is one tree set which uses tree set as data structure. Okay, we will not go detail in these. Okay, so what we have learned what is collections, why we want to use collections, what are the main interface in collection, list and set, what is the difference between list and set, what are the classes which implements list, what are the classes which implements set, and when do we use set and when do we use list. Okay, so this video concludes on this note that we have seen these basics of collections. Again, these all are basics, but if you want to learn more, you want to explore this website. You can go through individual links. I am not covering map in this video. Probably I will create a new video on map, but you can go to this individual links and try out some of the programs and read the theory so that you better understand in more details. Yeah, thank you.